abide has been used 5 times in just 4 verses. This is important because authors use the repetition for significance. And this repetition of these words push the idea that all the qualities of the Spirit, truth and love, for example, come only because God is in us. And they are not self-generated. Remember that. Let's take a closer look at what it means. These 3 little words with a universal impact. 3 words. What are these 3 words? God is love. If you look at this in this small statement, you can get an idea, you can sum up God's entire character and everything that he does, all his motivation, all his actions throughout history are summed up in these 3 words. Everything that he has done. We see, what is love? What is love? 1 Corinthians sums it up perfectly. 1 Corinthians 3 verse 4 says, love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no records of wrongs. It is not... It does not delight in evil things, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects. It always trusts. It always hopes. Always preserves. Love never fails. Now all you have to do to see God's complete character is change one word. God is patient. God is kind. God is not self-seeking. God is not easily angered. God keeps no records of wrongs. God does not delight in evil, but rejoices in the truth. God always protects. God always trusts. Always hopes. God always preserves. This is where it gets. God never fails. You see, love so perfectly encapsulates God's character because contrary to popular belief, love is not a feeling. Come on, let me say it again. Come on, we live in a world where love is just a feeling, love is just infatuation. I'm here, I'm there, I'm going, I'm everywhere. Experiment, do what you want, live in the moment. No, love is not a feeling. God's character shows that love is a state of being. Many of us love today and not tomorrow because we're just not feeling it that day. I'm not feeling it. You irritated me. I don't love you. Go on, bro. I do not love you. You irritated me. Get on my last nerve. Today was the last straw. I do not love you. Okay, I like you. I like you. I don't love you. That's too much. You're going too far. I can't love you. I love this sometimes. But you see, if you look at God, God gets angry at times. And God feels sorrow. And God is disappointed. God has a whole range of other feelings and emotions. God has emotions. But God never acts outside of love. Feelings cannot change your state of being. Remember that next time you say you love someone. Feelings cannot change your state of being. Love is a state of being. Now let's look at verse 17. See, now this verse connects itself with all the previous verses. It says, by this is love perfected with us, so that we may have confidence for the day of judgment, because as he is, so also are we in this world. But it says by this, it is talking about all the things mentioned before. Love is accomplished. That's what perfected means. Love is accomplished because of the truth, the testimony, and confession that all come from God. The verb in the Greek, teteliotai, which means to perfect, is in the perfect tense, middle voice. This means not only has love been accomplished at some point in the past, and continues to be accomplished moving forward, remember that is the perfect tense, but it also means that it is not because of our own doing. That is what the middle voice means. The middle voice means that it's someone else's doing onto us. What does that mean? God is the one who is accomplishing this love within us. It is only because God, who is abiding in us, that we are able to have this confidence when his judgment comes to the world. The he here, the he, who is this he? The he here is referring to Jesus. And what he said in John 17 verse 16, we are not of this world because he is not of this world. Our connection with God allows us to have his character and not the character of Satan, who is the ruler of this world, if you did not know. John 12 verse 31 says that. The word I want you to focus on here is confidence. Confidence means a strong or firm belief in something or someone. True believers have a firm belief that God will save them because they are connected to him and have accepted them into their lives. You see, it's that simple. It's like when you study for that test. You have that confidence in your knowledge because you have gone through the information and you have sought out everything that you must know. You have that confidence. You do not fear that test because you are ready. Everything that you need to pass is within you. You see, if you lack that confidence, you fear that test because you know there's something missing. That is why perfect love casts out fear. That is why there is confidence in love, because God is love, and with God, you are safe. You see, verse 18 goes on to break it down a little more. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. For fear has to do with punishment. And whoever fears has not been perfected in love. You see, from these verses we can see that fear is the opposite of confidence. You see, there is a connection between God, who is love, and fear, which has no place in love. And there is an adjective used here. Adjective used here is teleos, which means perfect. And it says perfect fear. In the Greek it says teleos. And if you do not know, it's connected morphologically to the verb perfected in the verse before, teteliotai. It's used here to connect that perfect and the perfected love. It says complete love or perfect love. This complete love, which only comes from God, draws out fear because the two are opposites. In this context, God equals love equals confidence. No God equals no perfect or complete love, which equals fear. And the figure of speech used here, cast out. Here it can mean not only there is no fear in complete love that comes from God, but also the love in God gives us literally a thing to get rid of any existing fear that judgment brings. You know, as Adventists, sometimes we get caught up. We get caught up in the hype. We get caught up in the judgment, and we forget about the self-sacrificing, saving love of God. Remember that perfect love casts out fear. You see, we as believers do not fear because with God's love there is no reason to fear. The Spirit of God in us offers us protection from the punishment that the world will receive. Life is the test I was speaking of earlier. Love is the study guide, and God is the answer. You see, verse 19 gives us a reason for everything that we do. We love because God loved us first. The reason for our love is no longer implied. It is clearly stated. Why do we love? God's love is the cause of our love. The love we have is the direct result of the love that God has given us. John wants the believers to know that the love they have for others and God is not coming from them. In the previous verses, we were taught that complete love comes only from God. That love was demonstrated when God sent His Son into the world to sacrifice Himself to save the world. We cannot claim this love because it is not our power that allows us to to express it. Our love is a reaction resulting from a connection to the source, which is God. You see, from the beginning of time, God has been demonstrating His love for us. And when we finally let Him into our lives, He gives us power to love as He does. You see, now things are getting a little bit more serious. Things are starting to get serious. Verse 20 says, if anyone says, I love God, and hates his brother, he is a liar. Word, church, this is important. It doesn't say he might be lying, or, pray for him because it's on the edge, he might start lying. Or, he's trying to love, but he just has some issues with his neighbor. No, it says, if he says, I love God, and hates his brother, it's a fact he is a liar. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. He is a liar. This is the reason. For he does not love his brother whom he has seen, cannot love God whom he has not seen. This is another if then statement. If you hate your brother, then you cannot love God. There's no ifs, buts, or maybes. You can't love God if you don't love others. You see, in the first part of this verse, we can see there must have been people proclaiming to love God, but treated our people around them and the fellow believers with hatred. Where have we seen that? Where have we seen that? Claiming to love God, but hating others. One thing in the Bible that comes to mind is the Pharisees. There was religious leaders that taught that they were better than everyone because they followed the Lord. And it's crazy that was written over 2,000 years ago. But it pretty much sums up how people are today. Even in the church. I'm coming to the church right now. Even in the church, we see people claiming to love God, but they judge others and treat people like trash. Like trash. No other way. Treating people like trash. I'm about to get serious with you guys. Some girl comes into the church wearing something that you don't like. You look at her sideways. What is she wearing? In the church? Don't you know this is the house of God? Coming and looking like she's going to the club or something. Oh, you got an attitude. Someone sits in your seat. I've seen this before. In my seat. In my seat. Please get out of my seat. It's the Lord's seat. In my seat. I've seen it in church. Yeah, my seat. And no that person don't even speak to that person because they sat in their designated pew area. And it's like they've committed the unforgivable sin. You see, a girl gets pregnant before marriage and she's going to hell. Oh no. She's going to hell. I've heard that.
So am I.
Homosexuals? They're not even allowed in church. Are they? I don't know. I'm not saying that I endorse the sin. What I'm saying is that love does not treat people like that. No matter the sin, no matter the circumstances, because we are all patients in this hospital. We are all patients in this hospital. Don't look at one person that has no leg because you have no arm. You say, you have no leg. I got both my legs. You're missing an arm. So sit yourself down. Who can judge because he knows the heart. And he's the only one that can save. And he's the only one that can change. So if you judge someone, you better have died on that cross. You better have the power to save them. But if not, sit down. See, as I said before, I'm not endorsing the sin, but love is better than that.
Come on, yes.
Love is different from that. You see, Jesus died for that girl in that dress you don't like.
He did. That's right.
He died for that person who stole your seat. I didn't know why that's an issue. He died for that pregnant woman and her child.
That's right.
That's right.
He died for that person who is yet to be delivered.
That's right. That's right.
Amen.
Amen.
Based on the previous verses, there is no question that it's impossible to love God if we do not love others, because the two are connected. You see, God is love, and He gives His love to all those who are open to receive it. If a person really loves God, it will be impossible to not love others, because the character of God's love is inside of them, moving them to love. So remember, it is impossible not to love if God is in you. Verse 21 closes the passage with a requirement. It says, this is the commandment we have from Him. It's a commandment. Whoever loves God must also love his brother. You see, John makes it clear right away that this is a commandment. It is not his own words. You see, John is writing a letter, but he makes this part specifically clear. This is a commandment we have received from Him. It is coming straight from God. And you see, this verse parallels John 15 verse 12, where Jesus says it is His commandment to love others as He has loved us. This verse is also connected to John 14 verse 15, where Jesus said, if we love Him, we will keep His commandments. Here we see that the two loves cannot be separated. They are from the same source, and one cannot